Hey, have you ever heard of that statement, when you give, you shall receive, right? I'm sure you probably heard it before, maybe in that term, but you've never heard of it as a law. Almost like the law of gravity, right? What goes up must come down. There's the law of reciprocity, and that is when you give, you shall receive. I have used these laws, that one, and many others, from my my late teens, I should say, my early 20s, when I discovered these laws that dictate the universe and how it works and science. It really made a huge impact on my life, being grown up a Christian, and how the impact and the power of God's natural laws can impact our lives. And so you may have heard this in different ways. You may, maybe have different phrases that you have used. So what I'm going to share with you in this video is one of the classics. I'm taking it out of the vault. I'm actually cleaning out my storage, and I wanted to share this with you because it's something that I've taught for so many years, 20 plus years. If you believe in gravity, all right, and you believe in the law of reciprocity, that when you give, you shall receive, then I encourage you to listen to the 8 laws I'm about to share. And there's just 8 in this video. There's more, but I'm just sharing 8 in this video. It's a talk I did at one of my live events many years ago. But in these 8 laws, I would just encourage you to, if you believe in the law of reciprocity, which is give and you shall receive, if you believe in gravity and that law, and maybe you believe in others, maybe the law of attraction, then I encourage you to open up your mind and your heart and have some faith in these other 8 laws I'm going to share with you. And if it makes a resounding impact, then you can let me know in the comments. So you can check out this video, this classic video from the vault, and glean some of these laws and apply them into your life and gain the impact that they will make just by applying them. And you could always let me know if you've heard of these. Maybe you don't even believe in them. Just let me know your thoughts and feedback in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.
So this morning I'm briefly going to cover some things before we get Dave up here on REOs. We're going to cover the laws of the universe. I know yesterday I was talking about some of those laws, but I actually want to give them to you, some of them today. And if you have any questions about these, we have some time, because I know sometimes you may be new to the laws of the universe, and if you are, don't worry about it. Let's talk. We can chat a little bit about it. So what are these universal laws? You can think of these laws as spiritual laws or energy laws, because everything in the universe is comprised of energy. These laws are in effect whether you are aware of them or not. Some of the laws I'm going to mention and bring up here, I have about 8 of them, and you may not have known they existed. Some of the laws we do, like the laws of physics, we already know those are present in our life because we're surrounded in it every day. So let's dive in. The law of cause and effect. Everything happens for a reason. How many people have heard that before, or hear people saying that? Everything happens for a reason. Well, it's true. See, what you sow in your life is what you'll reap. Your 5 senses are the receivers of your life. Those 5 receivers being our sight, you know what they are. Our sight, smell, taste, touch. Those receivers are your tools, and you can use them for the giving and pushing out the energy, and giving out that energy, and also receiving it. All right, so the law of belief. Now, this law states that whether you believe with feeling and conviction, it'll become a reality. But notice how it says there, believe with feeling and conviction. It's 2 parts. It's a feeling and a conviction. And a conviction is a belief, but you stand on it. Meaning that you're not wavering. So let me give you an example. Let's use a real estate deal. You have a goal or a want that you're going to flip your first property. You're going to wholesale your first deal. Or maybe you're going to get into a multi-unit. And you haven't done it yet. You have to stand with conviction that it's going to come to pass. That it's going to happen. That it's going to come into your life. That you speak life into it. That I'm working. It's like, instead of saying, oh, when I get my first deal. No, it's coming into my life. I'm working towards my multi-unit. I'm working towards my wholesale flip is right around the corner. It's coming into my life. It's that belief, but it's a conviction. And actually, when you believe and you have that conviction and you convey that to other people, they can feel that. And that energy is there, it's present. And that just makes it so much more powerful. What do you think about that? You looks like you got an aha moment. You see what you already believe. I think it was Stacy and I yesterday were talking about, I was ready to say NLP. Fresh my memory.
Setting goals. Oh, about
quantum physics.
Quantum physics.
Quantum physics. And I'm not going to get into all how that works, but the quantum physics is your ideas, your thoughts become things before it even comes to pass. So your thoughts and ideas will come to fruition once you start putting these laws behind them and you start taking action. So that's why you see like inventions and ideas come to pass. You wonder, how did that happen? Where did it come from? But what's so powerful is that with the power of the mastermind is when you have multiple people working together on that thought or that idea. So if you have a thought or idea, don't just keep it to yourself. Share it with other people. Because then that thought goes from your sphere to other people's spheres, and it's going to come into your life a lot faster. So, and you've probably already had this experience. Have you ever received a referral in your business? Right, exactly. People know what you're doing, you've already put it out there to other people. So do that with everything in life, with your wants, your goals, and your dreams. Put it out there to other people. Not just what you do for a living or a career, not just what you do, but also your passions and your wants, whatever you want it to be. So it's not until you change your beliefs that you can begin to change your reality and your performance. Law of expectation. The law of expectations tells us that whatever one expects with confidence again, with confidence, becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So with confidence and belief, who here knows something that hasn't come into their life, but they have a goal and they want and they strongly believe and stand on it? Nelson, what is it?
I believe that.
Stand up and say it, bro.
For what I saw on my vision with Darren yesterday, in 10 years, I'm going to be right where you are, hanging with Dave, not balling. I'm going to be.
Why not?
Because I'm not a baller. I'm just kind of like Dave, because he's straight up like that, and that's where I see myself, and I just know it's going to happen.
It's already done, buddy. It's already done.
That's it. And you have to know and believe. Now, you put that out there. You put it out there. And we're going to talk about it later on today, your 30-second elevator pitch or your 30-second intro. We're going to cover that later in the psychology of selling. But you got to start putting it out there. You got to start believing and with conviction and then telling other people. Like, I am on this journey. This is where I'm going. I'm working towards. I'm going to be this. You got to start calling it in. That's great. All right, the law of abundance is all around you. But if you focus on what you don't have, then you will get more of those results. Only you can limit your mind. See, our world, when we look at nature, it's actually, everything happens according to plan. We don't have to do anything. We don't have to worry about the sun rising and setting. We don't have to worry about the weather. We don't have to worry about any of that, the plants. We don't have to worry about any of that stuff. It automatically takes place. So there is already growth and abundance everywhere we look. It all depends on what your focus is. What are you looking at? Because you can focus on checks coming in the mail all the time, or you can focus on bills coming in all the time. I did a test when in 2006, when The Secret came out, there was that statement in that movie where it said, some British guy said,
Australian.
It was Australian, sorry. It was Australian.
Now I get checks in the mail.
Yeah, and I get checks in the mail. Thanks, Mama. Hey, can everybody give it up for Mama for all her hard work? She's done all the effort, man. Woo! I'll tell you one thing. If you, Mama's our lead accountability coach. If you ever had the opportunity to speak with her, either here or on the phone, she is just a powerhouse. Swimming in personal development. That's the kind of people we like to surround ourselves with. So where was I?
Mail and.
Checks in the
Checks coming in the mail.
An Englishman.
So,
British guy.
the British, Australian. The Australian guy said,
All the same.
he said, I receive all these checks in the mail. You know, I started, you could probably do this a lot better than I could.
Yes.
Checks in the mail started coming in. I said, really? I said, I'm going to put that to the test. And that's something I've always done. Whenever I've read a book, Think and Grow Rich, as Dave likes to say, I'm gullible. I believe everything I read, but I read good things. I don't read, People magazine and whatever, the gossip stuff. I'm not talking that kind of stuff. But I believe everything I read and I apply. That's one of the things, I'm the king of procrastination, but when it comes to application, that's something I'm big on. So I believe the things I read when it comes to like Think and Grow Rich or other books in personal development or self-development because I've seen the results. I've seen the power of when you set some goals and it comes to fruition. I've seen the power of when you give, you shall receive. I've just seen it in my own life, and you've probably already seen it too. If not, start applying these principles. So one thing I did was, at the time I was a paper boy, and I said, well, how can I start receiving more checks? My car was breaking down. I was driving up and down hills on a beat it up Toyota Corolla. And I said, how am I going to start getting more checks? I mean, my car is always breaking down. That's only the thing I saw. So imagine yourself getting into your reality every morning. If it was a beat up car, that was my reality, was a broken, beat up car. And I said, how am I going to get myself out of this reality of my broken, beat up car that I have constantly putting money into? That was my reality of how my life was every morning. So I started to have to reprogram my mind, and I said, well, what can I do to start receiving more checks? So I naturally had to start giving first. So I started thinking of ways that I could give to my customers. So what did I do? I asked them, what can I do? I wrote them a letter. I said, what can I do to give to you? What can I do to serve you better? And they simply replied back. They said, well, I really like my paper over here. I was pretty shocked at some of the results that I found, because I thought I was doing a damn good job. But they started saying, well, I really like my paper over here, or I really like it in the mailbox, or I really like it over here. So I started doing it. I just did what they wanted. I gave them what they wanted. And guess what happened? Checks literally started coming in the mail. Just check after check. Now the funny thing is I still get checks. I haven't been a paper boy for like 6-7 years. I still get checks for Christmas from these paper customers because we built such a great relationship. These people would invite me over for Christmas, for Thanksgiving, the Super Bowl, and I'd be hanging out with their families. Why? Because I gave. And they felt like because I was giving so much to them that they just wanted to keep pouring into my life. I got introduced to family, friends, and all these people. Why? Because I gave first. So keep that in mind. Because when you give, it's just going to come back to you. So the law of abundance, you have to start finding the opportunities to give first. And when you start finding those opportunities, and you start serving others, that's when it comes back to you multifold. All right, the law of concentration. Whatever you dwell upon grows and expands in your life. This law says that the more you think about something, the more of your mental capacity is assigned to think about that issue. Whether it's positive or negative, whether it's constructive or destructive. What you think about is what you bring about. Do you guys still need that one? Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, concentration can also be broken down into meditation. How many people here spend at least 15 minutes a day, whether it's morning or night, 15 minutes a day just thinking about your life, your dreams? Good. A quiet place. A quiet place that you can take the time to just visualize. More will actually happen in your life so much faster when you take the time to visualize what you want. You got to pick that place. It's quiet. My favorite place is the shower. Trish, don't get any visuals here. Well, yeah, because you said something earlier. You wanted a mental picture. So here's the thing, is that pick your place. Pick your place where you can actually let your mind go and just start thinking about all the ideas. How many people have a place like that where you just feel like, man, I always get ideas while I'm there? Fred, where is it for you?
I like to do so when I'm driving.
When you're driving? Jim?
Because it's the
Same
same.
thing, right, yeah.
Driving?
When I was smoking a cigarette.
When you're
I'm gonna have to figure out something else.
When you're smoking a cigarette, yeah, let's figure out something there where we can, because all that is a habit, all you have to find is a different direction. You can have a whole other light, and a whole other avenue of bringing in that light into your life, those thoughts. Absolutely.
Ocean Beach.
Ocean Beach? Yeah. Find that place that you can spend 15 minutes a day, whether it's at morning or at night, and just start thinking of and dreaming about your dreams, but thinking about the things that you're working on. Asking yourself that question you wrote down yesterday, what can I do today to get one step closer to my goal? And you'd be surprised at what comes into your life. You'd be surprised at the thoughts that starts coming to fruition. It's powerful stuff.
Hey Nate,
Yeah.
people, don't know of any ideas, you might want to try the Holiday Inn. It's a good place to have good ideas.
The Holiday Inn. Okay.
That's why he's having a second kid.
Okay. Cool.
You guys have
Is he trying to sell us something?
That's a Holiday Inn Express.
All right. The law of subconscious. You must continually program your subconscious mind with a clear picture of your goal. Notice how it says continually. What do you think continually is?
Forever.
Forever?
All the time.
On a regular basis. How often do you shower? Matt?
How long does it take you to wash your hair?
At any rate.
Yeah, it is. You wouldn't have it any other way.
Continually. If you shower every day, if you shower and clean your body every day, you got to clean your mind every day. Again, Stacy and I were talking last night when it comes to quantum physics. Your brain, actually, what happens over time, your brain cells, they form patterns. And the neurons, what they do, maybe you've heard of this before, but it's called brain cells. They kind of looks like a spider web. And what happens with that spider web is when habits are formed, they kind of like form together. And in order to break that, you have to do something with motion and emotion at the same time to break a pattern. Okay? So that's why they say it takes about 21 days to break a habit. But that's 21 days if you're doing it repetitiously. But you can actually break habits a lot faster if you put motion and emotion behind it. Things will happen a lot quickly. That's why I encourage you, when you get this aha moment, stand up and say yes, because it just totally separates the neurons in your mind from an old pattern to a new pattern. And then your brain cells will recreate that thought pattern, and a new system will be created. It's actually very good. It's good for mental health. We have gyms, right, for our physical health, but you got to exercise the mind. And there's ways to do that. Okay? So the subconscious arranges all your words and actions to fit a pattern to achieve your goals and desires. The law of responsibility, and this is the last one here, it's we are who we are, and we must accept where we are in our lives right now. You got to be real and honest with who you are right now at the place you're at. Honesty to yourself. We must take responsibility for putting ourselves here. So all the where you're at now was all the thoughts and actions that you took, a year ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, got you to the place you're at today. Well, all the choices you're going to make today is going to affect your tomorrow. So think about that. Every day we're making choices. And those choices that you make, take responsibility for them. Self-discipline is probably one of the hardest laws to implement. But when you apply them, you apply those laws of self-discipline and responsibility over time, your life goes in the direction you want it to. Only then can we begin to change where we are. True responsibility is an act of controlling our dominant thoughts by seizing control of our mind, not letting it wander. It's kind of like if you surf the internet. Anybody find themselves doing that? They go online and they start with one thing, and then an hour later they're like in a whole different direction. Wow, pretty much everybody can't do it. Okay, it could be a big time waster. you have to surf with direction. And even down to your browser, the way you have it formatted, you have to have a system and a pattern that you know you're surfing with purpose. Because it can be a big time waster. It's like, just imagine if you're flipping the channels with a television. You can be there for hours and not get any value out of it. But surf with a purpose. Get in, get out, do what you need to do, and move on to the next thing. Or set a time for yourself. Can you do that on TV? TiVo? All right. Thank you for listening with an open mind.
Can you back about last night?
Sure.
Okay.
Got it?
Yep.
Fantastic. All right, so let's move right in. Was that helpful?
Yes.
Did anybody have any questions? Fantastic. Okay, if you have any questions, we can talk more. For now, we are going to, oh yeah.
I don't have any questions, but I just think, like, looking yesterday when Dave was talking about relationships there, and his in-laws were back there, seeing how proud they were of him up there doing things. And then, like we were talking about, where you are, thinking about what you want to do. And just like driving here today, this morning, I was thinking about that yesterday, how, that's what I want to be able to do, make people happy,
How do you want to make people happy, Fred?
Well, not people happy, help people.
How do you want to help people?
Like, just like with Dave,
How do you want to do it?
by helping people in what they want to do, but I have to achieve that myself first.
What do you have to achieve?
My goal is first, before I can help other people, but just seeing how proud they were of him, and how his mother-in-law came up and said, I'm really excited.
Yeah.
That's,
Right.
she's easily excitable. But it was nice to see how proud they were of what you're doing, up there. And it was
Yeah.
nice.
It's a support system. He has a good support system
Mhm.
too.
Yeah, but you know what? Sometimes you may not have every family member in your life as a support system. Sometimes the most, as Dave says, the people with your last names are not
Well,
the
that's just
closest.
family, friends,
Mhm.
people that have seen, it's like when he spoke about Patrick yesterday, and how that really made Patrick, that made Patrick feel good to know that Dave looked at him in a certain way.
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing that Fred brought up, which is a good point, is that sometimes people feel like, how can I help somebody else if I can't help myself? Okay? Have an open mind for a second, is that the first thing you have to do is if you serve others first. And your dreams will come to reality. They'll come to fruition. That's why we keep talking about that. It's like you have your wants and dreams and your goals. Share them with others, but start serving and helping people now. Because naturally what they're going to do to you, Fred, is they're going to come back and say, Fred, what can I do for you? You've helped me out with all this. What can I do for you? So don't let that stop you. Because I know for a fact it didn't stop Dave when he was out and about and people were wondering, well, what do you do? At first, sometimes your family or your friends won't be there for you because they just don't understand. But later on, over time, sometimes it's like our family likes to see results. So keep that in mind, especially for yourself when you're thinking about, before I help other people, actually, you should step out first. And this is for everybody, not just for Fred. You should step out first and help other people. Help them find what their issues and problems are. And then guess what? It's just going to come back to you.
Give and you shall receive.
That's what we've been talking
My
about.
mother's been saying my whole life.
There you go.
This whole week, this weekend's been really good, because all of us here could have been somewhere else.
Mhm.
There's a lot of things going on this week, and we all could have been somewhere else, but we chose to be here.
Absolutely.
And, the yes is
Great.
and you.
Awesome. And maybe.
You would
And I guess
have gone,
you-
yes, you would have gotten a ticket for that.
I'll make sure he gets a ticket for that.
That was your best moment. All right.
Yeah, I got a whole bunch of them, Fred, what do you want?
I think that was like the first guy that had a yes over it.
Yeah. Actually, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. You should give him two.
Awesome.
See, there's your support system. There you go. You
One thing, but one thing I know in the Freemason, we call it a cable throw around the neck. And then my obligation is not to help Mason for mankind. But once that baby gets tight, you've got to start taking care of yourself too. And sometimes you don't care for help from the others that should help. That's when you go through these, helping this one, helping that per se, and then, they go into the so-called drain area.
Yeah.
And it happens a lot.
You bring up a great point, actually, and I'm gonna spend like 3 minutes on this, and we're gonna get started with the REOs. But you bring up a great point where you may help somebody and try to help other people, right? But here's what you don't want to do. You're not the savior of the world. You can't solve everyone's problems for every time they call you. That's not what we're talking about. When someone has an issue and you can't solve their problem directly, don't run to the rescue. If it's not your specialty, connect them with somebody else. There's a big, strong, powerful place in the person that connects people with somebody else. So you may not be that person that's going to help them directly because it's not your specialty. That's why you have to know what your gifts and your talents are and what you're good at. He brings up a great point because sometimes you give and give to that person, but it's not a two-way street because you're not aligning yourself with the right person. You're pouring into someone's life and they're not giving back because you're doing something you shouldn't be. Maybe that's your moment to be connecting them with somebody who can give them the best results. And I think that happens a lot with people. They try to give to other people, but sometimes they just need to make a connection.
I know it's hard for people to say no, but the words that I use instead of saying no is, you know what, that's not going to work for me. Because if you say no because I'm busy, well, they can tear down any excuse. But if you say, you know what, that's just not going to work for me, this week, or it cuts out a lot of, them trying to tear down your excuses and push you into it. But it also lets you not feel guilty for saying no, It's easier to say that doesn't work for me than, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, and you can't say yes to everything. You have time and you got to organize your time with good time management. But here's the thing, is that you do have to say no to some things, but then connect them with somebody who can help them. That's so powerful. And then you know what? They'll come back to you, because that person that you connect them with, if that's their specialty, they'll come back to you, Barbie, and they'll say, or anyone, they'll say, wow, thank you so much for connecting me with this person. That was really awesome of you to do that. And you still gave to them, but maybe you didn't do it directly. Okay? There's a lot of power in that. Okay? Great. Well, let's get rocking and rolling. Get your pens and papers out. Let's get a new sheet. We're going to have Dave come up and we're going to get right into REOs. So let's give a big, warm welcome to Dave Tebow.
Right away. Check, 1, 2. Mary had a little lamb. His fleece was white as snow. And everywhere that Mary went, the lamb showed it all. We all right? We good?
We're good to go.
We're good. Good morning.
Good morning.
If you want what we have, you do what we
Do.
right? That's it at the end of the day. It was good to hear you, Fred. It's funny, you get, as you remember we talked yesterday about bringing value, right? Bring value to a marketplace. What value I bring to a marketplace may not be the same for somebody else, may not be the same. People in this room have a phenomenal value set that I can't touch. Don't know what it is, right? Nathan's got different values that he brings in comparison to me. And at the end of the day, as long as we're consistently bringing whatever value we have to a marketplace, you're a perfect example of it yesterday. Matt brought in one of his business partners yesterday to meet me. And A-type personality. I mean, just bulldog salesman 101. Right? I meet the guy, and the first thing he says is, I've heard a lot about you. He says, and I'm ready to rip and grip just like you did. Right? Okay, buddy. So I immediately know what personality type I'm dealing with. But the thing of it is it necessary to have an A-type personality in your team if it's not you? I personally believe it's a help. It's the dog-eat-dog environment, you know what I mean? If you're not a barracuda, you're not going to grow up to be one. It's as simple as that. And you learn different skill sets going forward. So I know Matt very, very well. I've worked with him for a couple of years. Give him a little guidance and some help and some coaching and stuff. And he brings a passion and a consistency to his business, which is unmeasured. It is. You're always in the game. Every single day you get up and you go. And what he's done is he's learned to bring all of those other team players in place. So now when he, using Fred's example of, the pride of somebody you care about or other people's, acknowledgement of what you do, he accomplishes that also without being up front and center. You understand what I'm saying? Because he's a critical component, a critical cog in the wheel, right, of the business that runs smoothly. So, not everybody is going to be standing up front, you know, telling a gag and giving some idea and insight and all of those kinds of things. Doesn't mean I'm going to let you off the hook, right? You're still going to learn it as best as you can, but at the end of the day, you know what you're good at and do it as often as you can. So it was good to hear you, man, and thanks for your comments on that.